we're best equipped to serve the next person. And that's honestly something really powerful. I firmly believe that there's only two skills you need to get anywhere in real estate is just start and don't stop. I would argue that 1,000 YouTube subscribers is worth more to any business owner, especially a real estate agent, than 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Another episode of the Signature Buzz. I'm Brandon with Chris. And we're here with the one and only Scott Steele. He's one of our signature agents up there in Salt Lake City, Utah. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited you're on this because you're doing some great things up there. And as I've kind of watched your career develop a little bit, you spend a lot of time with video marketing. And so we're going to talk about YouTube and some of the stuff you've done. Maybe you can share some tips and stuff as we go through this on trial and error and different things like that, mistakes and things that have worked. But before we jump into kind of your marketing and stuff like that, how long have you been in real estate?
I got my real estate license in July of 2020. So as soon as the pandemic hit, I decided to hang up my prior career and call it quits. So I went and studied and got my real estate license, got my license in July of 2020, and then spent the next few months wrapping up my previous business before I went all in with real estate.
And what was that previous business?
So I used to build homes. I built homes prior to the financial crash. I had 18 homes in the ground when I built my business up and the crash happened. And so that was really stressful. And then after coming out of that crash and surviving for the next couple of years, I just bought properties in Salt Lake City and flipped them for the next 10 years. And so from 2010 up to 2020, I did 267 homes.
So I got to ask, did you use a realtor all those times?
Most of them. Yeah, most of them.
That's better than most builders. I like that.
Yeah, most of them.
So what caused you to make the transition from that into the dark side over here selling real estate?
The funny thing is, even if I went way back into the early 2000s, I always had an interest in real estate and I never made the jump. And it was just one of those itches that I had to scratch eventually in my life. And from about 2018 on to 2020, I was just tired and worn out of, with babysitting subcontractors and all of the nuances that come with running that kind of, business. And so no matter how much I grew it, I got up to a ton of employees and then I scaled it back to just 8 employees. And then I went with a hybrid mix between subcontractors and employees. I tried a lot of different varieties and I just never found the balance and the life that I really wanted. Therefore, it just became the perfect opportunity when 2020 hit to just pull the plug and go just jump all in. So that's what I chose to do.
So you did it during COVID or right before COVID?
COVID hit. I went up and signed up for real estate school. And then I was crazy. I did my coursework for 8 hours per day. So I just told my project managers that were working for me. I had one left because I'd already scaled back to that point. And he worked for me all the way through 2020 before he went on and got his job as a fireman. But as that transition was happening, I just said, look, I've got to be home by 2:00. And from 2:00 to midnight was my window of time to get 8 hours of studying in. And so 2.5 weeks later, I had my real estate license and I literally sold everything I had in my business over the next 4 or 5 months, finished up the projects that I was working on, and I was done.
Okay. And you're born and raised in Utah?
Yeah, I was born and raised here. I grew up in Salt Lake City, lived here my whole life. So I love it here.
Yeah. Do you think that helped you in your real estate business, or do you think it would have mattered? What are your thoughts on that? Like, because you grew up there, did it help?
I mean, to some degree, obviously I have a big advantage in terms of having knowledge based on all of the different areas along the Wasatch Front. But I think it would actually be an advantage to me with my marketing channel that I've chosen, which is YouTube, and most specifically targeting people that are relocating to Utah. I can bet that I would probably perform better there if I weren't from Utah, because when a viewer connects with somebody that's most similar to them or that has walked the same path that they've walked, they connect with them in a little differently. It just hits just a little differently. So I actually think it would be an advantage if I weren't from Utah.
So like discovering it from a new perspective. I like that. I always thought in my real estate business, because I was from Las Vegas, it made a difference. Like I would show people around and tell them the history, but I guess I looked at it with tainted eyes versus them looking at it from a fresh perspective. Just it's interesting the dynamic between that.
So
yeah, I mean, we're best equipped to serve the person that we once were, right? So if we've already walked the path of relocating to a place, then we're best equipped to serve the next person. And that's honestly something really powerful. So luckily I've got a team now with agents that have not, that have made the move here, which helps because now we can really relate with people even more. So
when you got your license and you came in to the business, did you always know you were going to go with video marketing?
Not at all. That was the last thing I thought I'd be doing. And it didn't even cross my mind.
That's every agent I know in the business. They probably wouldn't go to that first.
So how do you think you were going to get business?
So just to kind of like clarify, I made a living for most of my career, my entire life, with my hands and with tools. And I would scale that business with employees and subcontractors. And never in a million years did I ever think that this and a camera were going to be the way that I actually connected with people and made money. But that's what's happened. I never in a million years thought I'd be doing this. And when I first got into real estate, I just decided to work on an avenue that I already knew really well, which was probate. So right when I got my license and I finished up my business, it was September of 2020. I chose to pursue probate deals because that's what I knew best in terms of how I was acquiring property to flip houses. And so I just did that. And I got my first 3 listings in November, sold all 3 of them in December, 2 of which to buyers that were from sign calls. And the funny story is my first listing that I ever had was in West Jordan, Utah. And I listed this house. It was my first listing. And I had 2 more listings coming up in a week and a half. And I got a sign call from a woman who is an investor, and she liked the opportunity to buy a property that she could fix up because most probate houses are, that type of house. And so she called me. I went and showed her the home. She didn't like the house at all. And I just said, look, I've got 2 more properties hitting the market next week. Would you like to check those out? They're vacant. I could go show her those properties. She actually ended up buying both of them. And so my first month in real estate that I got a check, it was 5 transactions and I think it was like $52,000 total. And I thought, oh, this is easy, right? And then reality hits you in January when you feel like I had 3 buyers that were shopping at the $1 million price point or higher. And all 3 of them fell through in late January to the point where, one couple, they decided to split up. So that purchase was off. Another one ended up buying the very Airbnb house that I hooked them up with as they were visiting from Atlanta, looking and shopping for houses. And so long story short, I thought it was easy in December of 2020. And then for the next year, throughout all of 2021, I explored every avenue to do real estate business. And I got a deal, at least one deal from every avenue you can think of, cold calling, you name it, other than door knocking. Door knocking is the one and only thing I haven't actually done a deal from.
That's a really cool perspective. Well, you said something in there that really kind of hit, with COVID and everything, the mindset part of it. And based on your frame of reference from, being a builder, moving into the real estate sphere, how has mindset played into your business? I mean, because you lose 2 or 3 deals and it's like, I made a bad decision, but then again, you have a fantastic month and you sell 5 homes. It's like, why would you do anything else? What do you do to go through that phase and keep your mindset where it's at?
Mindset's everything. It's 9/10 of it, in my opinion. It really, truly is. And, it stems from the words you speak in your own mind and the words you speak about yourself out loud. Like that's pretty telling of your mindset. And if your mindset is not one of growth and one of opportunity, and it's more of scarcity or otherwise, it's going to hold you back. And so for me personally, I don't watch television. I gave up sports entirely. I love sports, but I completely gave it up so that I could feed my brain with the right type of podcasts and the right type of messaging that I needed to do in order to learn as a real estate agent and grow. And that's what led me to the path that I'm on now.
Wow. I'm going to ask you this because it makes so much sense to me now with videos. As I've known you, Scott, you're always a positive guy. You always have a smile on your face. You always seem really happy. And when I think of someone who does video, no one watches a video of someone who's upset and angry, except for that angry Vic. That guy's videos are great for that. But, but it makes a lot of sense, when you talk about mindset and keeping things positive. What led you down the video road? I mean, why did you pick that after all the things you tried? And how do you keep them so, because all your videos are so positive from that perspective?
I chased every rabbit in every direction. Call it shiny object syndrome, call it what you will. I chased every direction. And as you know, you can't, the person that chases two rabbits will catch none. And so I still had success to some degree, but I knew that I had to dial it down to one specific target, one specific modality that I was going to pursue, and a specific client avatar that I wanted to go after. And as I explored all of the options, the things that I've heard from the top producing agents in the country time and time again, including coaching, is video. And so I had a real estate coach based out of Denver, Colorado, who preached video. And I was given the opportunity to actually challenge myself and start doing video with a couple of other guys. And one of them is in Denver. And, we decided to use that as an opportunity to start doing something that was really difficult and uncomfortable, because video is not comfortable at all. Yeah. And it took a good 6 months before I actually got kind of comfortable with it. But I chose to do video because I could see when you kind of step up and get in a plane and go 30,000 feet above the ground, you can see what people are doing to find success. And I knew that although I have a sphere of influence that I need to work, it wasn't going to be enough opportunities for me to do what I want to do to meet my goals. So when I have my goals over here, does it align with my small little sphere over here? And it wasn't the case. So I knew that I had to grow my sphere. And I knew, based on all of the coaching and based on the agents that I was personally connecting with, that I saw across the country, being broker agnostic, just looking at all agents from all types of walks of life and brokerages, who's finding success. And I found a good 20 people that I thought, okay, these guys are doing something I really like. And I narrowed that down to basically one person, because that person is the most similar to me. And I like his vibes. I like his messaging. And I just decided in May of 2022 to go do and follow what he does. So I'm not reinventing anything. I'm just following what somebody has done before me. And I got really excited about starting, and I knew that it was going to be hard. And it took me 15 months of doing YouTube content consistently before I had the first person reach out to me.
Wow.
And that was last August. That was August of 2023. So yeah, August of 2023, I had my first person reach out to me. And then, in November, I got 3 people that reached out. In December, I had 5. And then in January of 2024, I had 18 people reach out. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. And that's where I got my first deal from YouTube, my first transaction. But the thing that really opened up my mind was in the last week of February and the first week of March of 2024, I had 5 families in town visiting Salt Lake City, all shopping for homes at the same time, the same week. And I knew that there's something here. There's something that's definitely going to work here. And I need help, because I can't possibly take care of 5 people at once. And just because of the nature of people transitioning and moving to a new state, it's time sensitive. I have to have a little bit of a team to accomplish this. And ever since that time in late February, early March, I've just put more emphasis on more video content, and it's just grown and grown and grown to the point where I get a few people every single day reaching out.
That's awesome.
So 18 plus months before you get your first deal, I mean, what kept you engaged in this? Like, for most people, they get that shiny object syndrome. They go down this path, they do a few things, work at a couple months, and then it doesn't work and they move on. I mean, what kept you focused on staying the course?
So for me, the biggest thing is detaching yourself from the outcome. If the outcome of money hitting your bank account is the driver for your action every day, it's not going to work. If the driver for you feeling like you fulfilled your duty and your commitment to yourself, it comes from measuring your daily or weekly activities. I don't like daily as much as weekly, so I do weekly activities. I know that these are the things I have to do every week. And when I measure myself against what my expectations are, because I know that those things will yield the results down the road. And I feel like that's the hardest part in real estate, is just the effort you put out today consistently isn't going to pay you for 6 months or even a year, or in my case, a year and a half, because most of these people that are relocating, they're about 10 to 12 months out. Sometimes they're a year and a half out or 2 years out. And so for me, just keeping my eye focused on my weekly activities and detaching myself from the outcome of the actual transactions being finished was the key.
So when you talk about the progression, I find it interesting. When I first got in the business, you had to go to a studio to film something like this. You had to have a whole setup. I mean, internet wasn't very good. We just got it. But now, like, everyone has a cell phone that's better than any camera that we had when we were kids, and it's so accessible. How did you progress through that accessibility? I mean, did you start with just your cell phone and record videos? Did you set up a stage? I mean, what did you do first as you went through it? How did it go?
So my first video is still on my YouTube channel. You can see it. It's terrible. I tried using my cell phone and I couldn't figure out how to get the footage from the phone to the computer because I'm not an Apple person. So it doesn't happen seamlessly. And I literally just went to the store and bought a GoPro because although I had a Canon DSLR camera that could shoot video, I had no idea how to use the camera, number one. Number two, I had no idea how to get the footage from the camera into whatever editing software I was thinking about using. I was completely overwhelmed. So I just went to the store and bought a GoPro. So my first 15 videos or so were shot with a GoPro. And it was easy because I didn't have to worry about audio and video. I could just push one button. Granted, the video quality isn't quite there. The audio quality certainly is not there, but it got me started. And I think another key to the success is there was another agent in the office here, and he wanted to do video marketing as well. And so we put some skin in the game. We teamed up as accountability partners, and we told each other every week, if we don't put out our video on YouTube, we owe the other person $100 every week. And my first YouTube video that I created, it was on a Monday, and our planned accountability meeting was 8:30 on Tuesday every week. So it had to be uploaded in order to count. And I shot that video on Monday afternoon into Monday evening, and I stayed at the office until 6 a.m. editing that stupid, terrible video. And then I drove home, which is about 30 minutes away, took a shower, came back to the office and met with John, the other agent in the office. And I never paid him $100, not once. And so awesome. Accountability, if you have a friend, if you have somebody that you can share this with, and just, if it weren't for that, like, I wouldn't have gotten started. Like, I would have procrastinated over and over and over again, like I had for the year before, because I wanted to do this for months and months and months, and I just wasn't doing it. And eventually you just got to start, because I firmly believe that there's only two skills you need to get anywhere in real estate. Is just start and don't stop. Like, if you just start something, whatever the avenue is, if it's open houses, if it's direct mail campaigns, if it's door knocking or cold calling or chasing expireds, whatever you're doing, if you just start and never stop, you'll find success. It's just going to take time for you to get good at that thing. And if you don't give it the proper amount of time, it'll never happen. And then as I mentored other agents, I've noticed very few agents are willing to go past 2 months, let alone 3 months, let alone 12 months before they give up on themselves.
Yep.
And so that's the indicator to me. If someone has what it takes, are they going to give up on themselves? And so that's what worked for me. Accountability really helped.
So
I'm too prideful to pay. I was too prideful to pay John $100.
So as you go through this, when you talk about your first video, wasn't as smooth as your end video, and you probably spent a lot more time in the beginning editing. I mean, how much time does it take you from shooting the video to editing to put it up?
So for the first, I don't know, probably I edited my first 130 videos on my own, and honestly, for every minute of video footage that you see on YouTube, if it's an 8-minute video, it's about 8 hours of work. So it's an hour of work per minute of video. And that stems from the concept, the ideation, to planning out the video, the research that's involved, knowing your facts and your numbers and your stats or whatever the case may be, and then actually filming it 18 times to kind of have something you want to work with, to then editing it and then post-production and putting it into YouTube and creating the thumbnail and the title and doing all the SEO stuff on the back end. It's about an hour per minute of video.
Wow. I had no idea.
So a 10-minute video is 10 hours of work. And this is not just as a real estate agent. Content creators across the platform and on YouTube that teach YouTube specifically, because I followed a lot of those people. It's about an hour of work per minute of video. until you can leverage systems and people to help you.
And so you've got somebody helping you edit now, or?
So I was really consistent. And then last October, put it this way, now that we're in January, in October of 2023, I did not upload a video because I was too overwhelmed and busy with my business. I had too many clients that I was working on right then. And that really bothered me. So, it's that accountability within yourself. It really bothered me. So I made the decision November 1st, I'm hiring a full-time video editor. So I got on a website, found a guy in the Philippines, trained him, worked with him for 3 months. And after 3 months, we were pretty close to being on the same page. And I've never given up on him. He still works for me today. So we're now 13 months in to our working together, and it's just gotten exponentially easier as we've gone on. And now I have much bigger goals and a bigger vision for where we want to go.
So let's go back to when you first started, just so I understand the dynamic. Were you putting out one video a day? Were you putting out 5 videos
per week,
a month? I mean, what did it look like for schedule-wise?
Yeah, it was 1 per week initially. That was the goal.
Certain topics or certain dynamics that you went around, or was it just potpourri of stuff? Or
well, I think it obviously starts with, number one, first and foremost, you got to find out who you're trying to talk to. So you start with the end, viewer or user or customer or client. So when you find the person you're trying to talk to, whether that be somebody that's, living in Utah that has, just had their house expired, an expired listing, for example. For me, I chose relocation. So I knew that I had to research the topics that these people want to know about. So I went into keyword extensions in Google, found out what are the top keywords that people are searching for, found the most relevant content that fits and serves those people, those answers to their questions. And ultimately, all you're doing is you're identifying who you're talking to, what are their problems and what are their questions. And now all you have to do is serve them with answers to their specific questions and helping them solve their problems. That's it. It's really simple. And I think most agents do it backwards, where they'll treat video kind of like a commercial, and they'll start a video and talk about themselves. They'll introduce themselves, and then they'll talk about this house they should buy or whatever the case may be. And I think it's completely wrong. I think you've got to start a video by talking directly to your target, the person you're trying to speak to, as though you're talking to that one person that's sitting across from your desk, and just saying, so you're looking at making the move to Utah. What's your biggest challenge? Are you stressed out? What keeps you up at night? What's the biggest problem that you have to overcome? Because moving from Atlanta, Georgia to Utah can be pretty stressful. And you start going on that way. And then at the end of the video is where you really introduce yourself and present the call to action, right? Whatever that call to action is, whether it's to subscribe or to continue to follow you or to actually reach out to you. So I think just treating it not as a commercial, but more as a way of serving people answers to their questions so that their problems go away. That's all it is.
I mean, I couldn't take any more notes from what he said through that part. But so I see this all the time. Agents, have the ego basis of, oh, I'm so-and-so and I did all this and here are all my clients. And no one cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
They don't care about you until they know you care about them. And it's never going to change. You've got to start talking about them, not about you.
And I think as I watch videos, I really jump onto the initial tag of what that person says, hey, are you hungry? Because I know it's going to be something about food and I'm excited, or hopefully. And so or, the vacation videos and things like that. Hey, have you seen this? And it's not about the product at that point.
Right.
Tell us your favorite video you've done so far in that way.
My favorite video I've done? I think I'd probably say my favorite videos that I've done are I've done a couple dozen videos or so where I'm not in my office / studio here, and I'm actually out with people. That's the most fun. And so as long as I'm out of the office and I'm out in the communities, I'm having much more fun doing that. The problem is it takes more planning and it definitely takes more time. But this year I'm focusing, I've got to get one of those out every single week where I'm out of the office. And then if I have my goal is to have 3 videos per week. And so if I have 2 in the office and 1 out and about with other people, with builders, with people on my team, with other people that I'm having engaging conversations with, that's where I have the most fun. So I did a recent one in Daybreak, which is the community where I live in South Jordan. I've done many videos where I'm out and about. I did one in Salt Lake City, downtown Salt Lake City specifically. I have way more fun doing those videos. They're much more fun.
You get a lot more viewers on those too, don't you?
It depends. Like if YouTube specifically is quite different than social media. It's not social media in any way. It's search based, right? It's not interest based like TikTok. It's not social based like Facebook or Instagram. It is a search platform where people are looking for answers to their questions. And so when you post a video on YouTube, like I have a video that recently kind of took off a little bit that had 500 views after the first week, which is pretty normal for me. Most of my videos have about 500 views after the first week. But if I pull up this, let me pull up this video really quick. After the first week, it had 500 views, but now it's been out for 2 months and it has 50,000 views. And if you look at my YouTube channel and you look at the most popular videos, it plays to the natural human emotion of, curiosity that stems from something negative. Human beings are drawn more to negativity. And for me, being really a positive person, it's hard for me to be negative. I have to try, but leveraging the title and the thumbnail in the video to spark some sense of curiosity in a negative way to then present them with the truth and the facts of what's the content behind the video. Those are the videos that are the top performers. And so I feel like that recipe could be used, whether that's in a vlog style video where I'm out in a community, or if it's a talking head style video here in my studio, whatever the case may be. I think it's getting better at that curiosity between the thumbnail and title to get someone who wants to click. And then beyond that, it's the first 30 seconds, 60 seconds of the video to really start by addressing their core concerns or their questions or presenting something that's going to keep them to stick around for the video.
Okay. And so you've grown your channel. It's well over 5,000 subscribers now.
So this is my favorite thing to talk about. So there's an agent in Utah who dominated this space that I'm in right now. He's been doing it for 6 or 7 years now. And he did 35 transactions in 2023. And almost all of those came from YouTube. And I thought, okay, I've got to beat this guy. I've got to be better at him at delivering a message. I've got to be a better communicator. I've got to have better lighting, better video quality, better messaging, better content in every regard. And so that was the goal in the beginning of 2023. And by April of 2023, my channel overtook his. In other words, if you were to go incognito mode on a browser and pull up YouTube and type in all of the top 100 keywords that people search when they're making the move and relocating to Utah, my video was the top video on almost every single video, and it was top 3 out of 5 in every single keyword. And so if you look at his views that he was getting back then, it completely flipped. So my channel took over in terms of getting the attention and therefore getting the clients. And so now, as long as I continue to pursue being at the top and being the top agent in Utah on YouTube that's actually going to attract clients, that's the goal.
Okay.
Is 5,000 a lot? Like, I don't understand it enough to know. What was your goal? Like, how many were you looking to get? How many do you feel really comfortable with? Like, I just don't know. I know, like, everyone says, my parents say on Facebook, wow, I got 300 friends. Okay, that's a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
What's a lot?
So I firmly believe that the number of views on a video and the subscribers, it's just a vanity metric, but it can be used to motivate you. And so for me, it really does motivate me because it's some sense of barometer as to what I'm doing. And so my first goal was to hit 1,000 subscribers, because at 1,000 subscribers, you get monetized on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just a fun goal to get to 1,000. 1,000 is a big number. And I would argue that 1,000 YouTube subscribers is worth more to any business owner, especially a real estate agent, than 100,000 followers on Instagram. I had another accountability partner in this journey of mine that I chose to latch onto. So I had 3 accountability partners: my coach, the agent in my office, and then my home inspector, of all people. My home inspector and I both, he was talking about doing video for a year and he never did. So when I was really getting started, we went to lunch together at a barbecue joint, and he decided he was going to go all in with Instagram and I was going to go with YouTube. And we held each other accountable, and we still do to this day. And he's at 109,000 followers on Instagram, but it doesn't translate to business. And like, he'll get a little business off of it, but it really doesn't. it gives him a really good presence. And in my opinion, it gives him a good value proposition for agents to want to work with him, who he can then help, coach up on their social media stuff. But 1,000 YouTube subscribers is worth well over 100,000 followers on Instagram. It's not just in real estate; it's across the board. When you look at people who teach YouTube specifically, it's huge. And so then my goal became, let's get to the next 1,000. And in January of 2024, I set the goal. I wanted to get to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I hit at the 1st of December, which was really fun to see that happen. It was really a big goal for me. And so now, this year in 2025, my goal is sometime in the month of July, maybe August, I'll pass up that other agent in Utah that was the top agent getting business from YouTube. And by the end of the year, I want to be at 12,000 subscribers.
That's awesome.
And I know I can do it. Yeah, it's a big jump.
Yep. And so this happens organically. I assume you're not buying.
Oh no, like it's all got to be organic. In fact, that's another thing too. When I first started, the other agent in the office, the first thing that he did is he told all of his friends, family, colleagues, everybody to subscribe to his YouTube channel. And it was like 52 people. If you look at his channel today, it still has like 50 something subscribers. And if you do that, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're trying to gain traction with the right person. And if the person that subscribes to your channel is not someone relocating to Utah, it's a waste. And so unlike social media, with YouTube, find your audience and don't go and tell everybody to subscribe to your YouTube channel when it's early. Once you get to thousands of subscribers, it doesn't matter anymore. But in the beginning, you can't do that. It'll confuse the algorithm. It'll never serve the content in front of the right audience. The same goes for real estate agents. If I don't want real estate agents subscribing to my YouTube channel, because now it doesn't matter as much because I've got over 5,000 subscribers. But especially in the beginning, if you go get 100 real estate agents following your channel or subscribing to your channel, you've ruined your channel. Totally ruined. Because that's
that makes a lot of sense now I think about it.
That's the person that YouTube's going to serve the content in front of. And that's the last person we want to talk to. We're not here to talk to other real estate agents. They're not clients. They have a license. They'll buy their house themselves. We've got to serve people that are moving to Utah. So I chose to not tell anybody, I told people don't subscribe. Like if you're not the right audience for my channel, don't subscribe to it.
So I want to ask you a question of something you just said, just because it sticks out in everyone's head when they think of YouTube. Get to 1,000 and now you're paid, or you could be paid for those videos. I'm guessing ad revenue. It's an interesting dynamic when you think about the fact of I'm working for a job to get clients to pay my bills, but I could also be paid for the content I'm creating that's driving the program to pay those people to come to me. Talk about that for just a second. Like, how does revenue share work, and how would it work into your real estate business, and what are your plans for that? Will it be part of it at all?
It's better than any other platform for sure. So I get paid every month, and it's to the point now where it's paying for my full-time video editor.
Wow.
That's huge, right? That was my goal, to get monetized enough to the point where it could pay for a full-time video editor. So here's the, I don't know if this will focus in on my camera. This is, I don't know if that's focusing.
No,
but it's so.
It looks like a lot, but I can't tell what it says. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
861.
Okay, that's the check I'll be getting in January for my December content.
Wow.
And so that pays for my full-time video editor. So now that I've leveraged YouTube to a point where I can pay for a full-time video editor, the next goal is to leverage it to pay for a full-time videographer to go out with me and just go help shoot content, so that all I have to do is show up and talk and speak to the things that I really enjoy talking about and with the people that I like talking with. And that's the goal. So that's the next phase. By the end of this year, I will be there.
Scott, in 20 years of real estate, and every video and class and CE and all the crap I've had to go through, I've never once had anyone show me the dynamic to get paid to prospect. And so I want to tag that point in this video, that's the coolest thing I've ever participated in. You're getting paid to prospect for clients for your business.
Yeah.
So organically, we've got to find the consumer out there. So I imagine that's done through your descriptions and your keywords and your thumbnails.
Correct. The three most important things on YouTube specifically to YouTube. Number one is the content. the content is the top. It's the top dog. But no one's going to find your content if you don't have the proper, if you don't have a good thumbnail and a good title to the video. And then at that point, YouTube, the algorithm in YouTube is really wised up over the years to the point where it knows the words you're speaking in your video. So in my video, if I say things like, this is one of the best places to live in Utah, or if I say, if you're looking at relocating to Utah, you might want to know this, this, and this. Or I always use the phrase living in Utah, living in Salt Lake City, living in Provo, living in Utah County, moving to Utah. So the more keywords that I interject into my speech, because it knows what you're saying, combined with the keywords and the tags in the video description, as well as the description itself and the title especially, that's the recipe to get the traction behind the SEO side, on the SEO side of YouTube.
Do you cross-pollinate any of those videos with other, like with TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or any of those? Do you like set up different pieces as you're editing it to have smaller parts for that, or does it matter at all?
Yeah. So on Instagram, and Facebook, but mostly Instagram. So I am cutting up the content and using on Instagram. And so the way that I've structured my personal business is I don't want to go at this as a real estate agent specifically. So if you look at my YouTube channel and you look at the banner of the YouTube channel, it's all about people that want to live in Utah. So if you look at the banner, it's titled across the top of the screen, "Living in Utah," and it's a brand that I've built, which is a media brand of helping people connect with Utah, and that's the Utah Reel. And so my Instagram account that I've started is the Utah Reel. My YouTube channel is branded to the Utah Reel. And it's all about Utah first, and it's just brought to you. It's brought to them by me and by my real estate team. And when you do it that way, there's just more trust because they don't feel like you're just selling them. It's not an advertisement. Nobody wants to watch ads on TV. When the ads pop up on TV, people do this. They go straight to their phone and they start scrolling. And so when you view it from the perspective of, I'm a media business first and foremost, that just happens to sell real estate. So I'm serving people through media to the point where they want to work with me, and then they're attracted to me like a magnet and want to work with me in real estate.
Do you find that people, when you finally meet with them, since they've got to kind of know you over video, is that a easier client to work with, or is it?
Oh my gosh, it's the best client. It's better. It's honestly better than a referral. I'm not even kidding. With a referral, referrals are awesome, by the way. You still have to earn their business and their trust. But when they've watched 20 or 30 of your videos that are lengthy, you've already built that trust and you didn't even know that it happened. And so my first call to action with clients is to get them on a video call, just like we're doing right now. And when they see me here talking in the same space that I create a lot of my video content in, every one of them smiles and says, "Wow, I can't believe I'm talking to you." And it's just so weird. And now it's like it's funny because then the next call to action is they come and visit, and they come and sit right here in my office, and they want to get photos with me, and like they're excited about it. It's like they're super excited about working with you. There's no better client in the world, in my opinion. Like there's nothing.
So better. You're like a local celebrity. You're a local celebrity
to a degree. Like for sure. Like it's funny because like I get a lot more locals watching my videos now, which was part of the plan, and I knew exactly what I was doing to get locals to watch. And one of the women on my team bought a house, and she moved into a cul-de-sac, and the next door neighbor in her cul-de-sac was actually watching my videos. And I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was walking in Park City. I was filming a video with another agent on my team, Sally. Sally and I are walking down Main Street in Park City, of all places, and we're walking up to this little spot that's kind of where the town lift is, where you can come down the mountain right into downtown and go to the restaurants. And we were just looking for a good place to film the next segment of our video. And there's a guy with his family that recognized me, and they're like, "Are you Scott?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because they could see that I was out there with a camera. Like, "Oh, we subscribed to your channel a year ago, and we've watched all your videos, and we're moving here." And they've just made that decision in the last couple of weeks, and they're here visiting, and they're ready to shop for a house. So video, I mean, I could preach and preach and preach about the power of video. And the problem that most real estate agents have is they can't, they have a time horizon for what their expectations are from video that's just too narrow. If you think you're going to do video or any other marketing channel in real estate, in my opinion, and you're giving it a 3-month run, you may as well not ever even try. And so for me, I don't even think 12 months is enough. Obviously, for me, I didn't get the first person reaching out to me until 15 months. So I think you got to have if you think of a time horizon as to when you expect a result, remove it entirely. Just say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do forever, because this is what I'm going to do. And everything works if you just never quit. Just start, don't stop. And if you remove that time horizon of when you expect a result from it, you'll eventually find the results. And I just don't see very many agents. I don't see very many agents that don't give up on themselves.
Yeah, long-term activity with long-term results. So when you go in, and how scripted are you when you go in to do one of these videos? Are you using AI to help you write a script? Are you using bullet points? Or you just know the topic and you just speak from the heart?
I do a lot of research, a lot more in the beginning, but now it just that's the thing, just like riding a bike, just like anything you want to do, you get so good at something when it just rolls off now. Like I don't have to think about it. I just know all these things. So like when I'm looking at data for what happened in the real estate market in Utah last year, I know it like the back of my hand, and people feel it, because when it's scripted, they're going to feel a little different. But if it takes a script to get you started, do a script. I've never done scripts. I've always done bullet points. And for me, it works better because I can just speak to people how I would normally speak. And it's still hard. It's still very difficult. It's a lot easier now than it was then when I started.
When you talk about research, so obviously to research something, you got to have a plan of what you're going to talk about. So where do you pull the inspiration for the videos and the content pieces, and how do they intersect with your business? Like, are you videoing things around listings that you're taking in areas that you're taking them, or how does that work in that dynamic?
So it starts with the end viewer in mind. So I've got people that reach out to me every day from Florida, Georgia, New York, Connecticut, Michigan, Texas, California, tons from California, as you can imagine. Some from Vegas, from all over the place. And you got to start with the person that you're actually trying to attract and find out what are their questions. So then when you go into these tools that are all over online, you can find tools like answerthepublic.com, or you can find keyword planner tools in Google and start researching what are the questions that they're looking for, and then go look at the top results for their questions, knowing that if you were in their shoes asking those same questions, these are the results that the internet would be feeding them. And I know that when people are relocating to a new state, they are 20 times more likely to go to YouTube than Google. Because when you go to Google and you type in a search query, and you have to manually decipher, okay, here's the first 3 results or ads. And then after that, it's blog posts for moving companies. And it's really just a sales pitch disguised as a blog post. And so like, there's so much time that goes into deciphering the results on Google. And honestly, what they really want, they want to see stuff. So video is so much more powerful than the written word, in my opinion, because especially when they're moving to a new location, they want to see the things. They want you to show and tell and not just tell. And that's part of the reason why I really enjoy doing the videos outside of the office more. And I know that's the direction that I'm going, because it's going to drive more traffic and more business and more clients reaching out to me. So it starts with the research in terms of what are their actual questions, and then who's actually answering those questions, and how are they doing it well. And the cool thing about real estate is I know that I can say this confidently. I know that I'm serving the best content in Utah, but as I look around the country and I find 20 other real estate agents around the country doing this at a high level, and then I call them on the phone, which I did, and had conversations with every one of them. And I've gotten on a plane and flown to Orlando and 2 other cities to go meet with these people in Houston and Orlando and in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and actually meet with these agents. That was huge. And so when you start figuring out how to do the research from others that have already done it before you, it gets so much easier. So now it's to the point where it comes so easy. There's so much content to create that people are looking for answers for. And now you asked me the question a little earlier in terms of AI. I started integrating AI into my business in April. And the best thing I did was the editing software platform that we use. It's called DaVinci Resolve. We use the AI in DaVinci Resolve to help edit my videos. So now my full-time video editor Instead of taking 5 business days to edit 3 full YouTube videos that are about 20 minutes in length per video, he can do them all in about a day and a half now.
Wow.
And so now he's freed up 3+ days of his week where he can now edit my podcast and he can edit all my short form video content. And so I use AI in my editing software. I use AI for planning out my videos. I use AI to create my thumbnails in my videos. I use AI kind of like a journal to like ideate what I want to actually talk about. So when it gives you, when you put in a prompt and you get a response, and then you ask it more follow-ups, and then you get more of a conversation going with it, it helps pull things out of your mind that you want to talk about. And so that's how I kind of view the AI aspect of making content. And it's gotten so much easier in the last year. Number one, because I've gotten more experience, but number two, AI is just, there's no excuse to not do it now. It's so easy.
So if I just frame a reference, if I'm just starting out doing video, what do you think is more important, the quality of the videos I put out or getting videos out, just short things that are out about me? What's better to focus on?
First and foremost, the most important thing, first and foremost is identify who you're trying to talk to. Number two, it's the content. It's what are you trying to actually communicate to them? So those 2 things first. And if that means you can do it in 30 seconds or 3 minutes, great, do it. If you can fill a 20-minute video with that, great. Whatever you can do to create good content to the right viewer is number one. And then the next thing is audio quality. And then the next thing is the lighting. And the least important thing is the video quality.
Okay.
So you don't need a fancy camera. One of the guys that I followed in my journey of learning how to do YouTube specifically, the guy that I look up to the most, and the guy that he's a mentor, and he's the one I'm chasing. And hopefully in 5 years from now, I'll be at the place that he's at today, because he's 8 years in on his journey on YouTube as a real estate agent who moved from Detroit to Orlando. And as I follow him and I flew out and met with him, I know exactly what I need to do to get to the next level and get to the next level. And I'm just literally I'm following the same chapters he's already read in the book, and he's just a few chapters ahead of me. And so the other thing too is when you're just following somebody who's already done it, it really takes the requirement of having faith in it, to a great degree, takes it away, because it works. And when you know something works and you can actually trust, well, he did it, why can't I do it as well? Because, you have to have the confidence to do that, but it's definitely true. So that's kind of what worked for me.
Love it.
What is the biggest lesson you've learned through this process? Like in making the videos, what works? What's the best lesson you've learned maybe of what works and what doesn't work?
The best, so the thing that I go back to all the time is when I was 15 months in and I had not yet received a single reach out on my YouTube channel. And I studied, you got to study the craft. You got to learn from people that teach it. And there was a guy online that teaches how to do YouTube, not as a real estate person, just YouTube in general. And he gives some simple advice as to how to actually speak to a camera. And so when you look at that lens on a camera, and if you can pretend like that's one person, and hopefully one person you care about, and not talking to the many, it made all the difference in the world. And as soon as I did that, it was that month that I had the first people reaching out to me. And so when you look at a camera, whether it's on your cell phone or a camera, and you're talking to the person on the other side of that camera, view it as one individual. So use language instead of saying, hey guys, don't use that. Say, hi, are you looking to move to Utah? Which is your biggest struggle this? Would you like to see this? You start talking to one person instead of many people. And that was a game changer.
Wow.
That's interesting, because almost every video you see, everyone says, hey, everyone.
Yep. Yep. Because they think other people care.
Terrible. It's got to be one-to-one.
Yeah. You mentioned on length of video. I mean, you mentioned 20 minutes. I've heard people say, short because people aren't going to watch them all those kinds of things. What is the limit or the time that you're kind of looking for, and why?
The longer, the better. And so I study the analytics on my YouTube channel ad nauseum. Longer videos get more. YouTube pushes longer videos, assuming you can capture somebody's interest and maintain it to a certain degree. And so if you can create a 30-minute video with relevant content throughout, go for it. If you can only do that same content in 15 minutes, make it 15. So you don't make a video longer just for the sake of making it longer, but the longer, the better. Absolutely. And here's why. Let me share this. So when I look at the analytics on my YouTube channel, as it's evolved, let me pull it up here really quick. When I look at my metrics, I follow everything, like literally every day. So every day right now, I have people watching my videos for 6,600 hours per day.
Wow.
I'm sorry, not per day. Sorry, that was a mistake. Sorry. That's 28 days. Sorry. 6,600 divided by 28 days. It's 235 hours per day. So every day people every day are watching my videos 235 hours per day. And as I look at the analytics, I can see per video where one video performs better than another in terms of viewership and where it's dropping off. And the cool thing is when I hired a full-time video editor, I had to send the video off for him to edit. And then when he sends it back, I have to analyze my own video every single second and pause it and take notes and send it back to the editor. And the fact that I had to do that made me watch my own content back, which made me get better at doing my own content in the future. And so I watched those analytics to a great degree. So if I go to my analytics here, there's an advanced mode in the analytics that you can go and search what device types people are using to watch your videos. And so when I do that, let me pull it up really quick. And if I go and just look at what devices people are watching my videos on, I have 48% of my videos are viewed on a television, 32% on a mobile phone, 12% on a computer, and 8% on a tablet.
That's interesting.
So think about this. So think about this. You're sitting on your television, or you're sitting on your couch. Sorry, you don't sit on your television. You're sitting on your couch watching TV. You don't want to go find a new video every 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You've got to have 20 minute, 25 minute, 30 minute episodes. So view it as television because YouTube has replaced all of the other streaming platforms as the top streaming platform. It was about 16 months ago that YouTube overtook Netflix as the top streaming platform.
Yeah.
So you have to cater to where the attention is. If the attention is on TV, you have to serve up content that is more viewable on TV, which means you've got to have longer videos because nobody wants to sit there on their television remote, as cumbersome as that is, to search a new video every single time. So
makes perfect sense when he says it like that.
Right. So the analytics, I mean, you get all those right out of the back end of YouTube, or do you subscribe to something else that helps you with that?
No, YouTube does a phenomenal job with it's an app and it's the back end of your YouTube channel on desktop as well, but it's called YouTube Studio. And as a content creator, you don't need anything beyond this. It is amazing. It gives you all the relevant information you'll need to know.
Okay. I think about what you just said, and I've followed Mr. Beast for a long time, watched his videos. His videos are all long videos, and now he's got a friggin' show that's a longer video because you sit and you get involved in it, and then you go hunt for the next one that's after it so that you get the next piece of it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that he just tied that together. I do want to ask a question on the analytics that Brandon just posed to you. When you said the customer in mind, the end viewer in mind, when it relates to real estate, what real estate tools are you using to identify what the end customer is looking for? I mean, are you polling your clients, polling agents? I mean, how are you using those analytics a step further for your business venture in real estate?
Think of it this way. So I'll talk about the tools I use, but if you were packing up from Las Vegas and you were moving to Charlotte, for example, you don't care about this. You're not going to care about the specific house yet. Yeah. First, you want to make sure that you're good with moving to Charlotte. And then you want to know about the neighborhoods in Charlotte. You want to know what it's like to live there. What are the pros and cons of living there? What are the things to look forward to? What are the things you want to stay away from? Those are the things you want to know. You want to know the macro stuff first. And then you get down to the neighborhood stuff and go, okay, this is a good neighborhood over here, but so is this place. Which one do I want to go with? Then once you narrow it down the funnel to that degree, then you want to actually find the house. So what I've done in my business is as people come into my world, I put them into my CRM, which I use a website platform and CRM platform called Real Geeks. And we just plug them into that. They get to view homes. We set them up on a home search and it feeds them results every day. So it stays in touch with them. And then we've also built out workflows where they get emails and other information from us, as well as video content that's housed in the CRM, so that they can be nurtured throughout the process and actually really get warmed up to the real estate market here. Because as they see that the search that I'm sending them every day, they can actually view on their own time what those houses look like and what they can get for the money, so that I don't have to sit here and go, well, you're moving from Alabama where a house costs $160,000. And for that same house here, it's going to cost $550,000. And I don't have to like overcome that objection in terms of the price differences based on where they're coming from, because they're getting comfortable with the market before I have to even do that. So that when they do come here and visit, and I highly encourage people to come visit first, we're really giving them a tour of the area first and popping into a few houses to show them some houses so that they can envision what it's like to live there. So I do use my CRM and website platform called Real Geeks. It's a work in progress. I'm really giving a lot of effort to revamping it and making it much more robust. But that's the main platform that we use.
Very cool. And so you mentioned a podcast. Is this something new, or is this something you've had going? And then what's your goal behind the podcast?
This is new. So my mentor that I follow in Orlando, he found that when he started doing the podcast on top of the YouTube channel, that was the secret recipe that started getting the locals reaching out to him for listings, because I don't want to be just buyer focused, right? I'm about 64% buyer heavy right now, 65%. So I don't want to be one of those agents that does 90% buyers. And so I need to attract locals. And when he started doing that podcast, that's when it took off for him. And so the podcast is branded to the YouTube channel, just like everything else. It's the Utah Real. And I will be doing one episode every single week this year. And it might not accomplish anything this year, but it might. But I don't really care, because I know that it will next year and years beyond. So that podcast it'll be uploaded to YouTube. YouTube has a podcast feature where you can upload videos as podcasts. Mm-hmm. And that from there, I can share it through another platform, through an RSS feed for Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all the other podcast platforms.
Awesome. So, Scott, really appreciate your time. I know you're busy. You're doing a good business up there. We appreciate all you do and helping with Signature growing up there. In fact, if you don't know, the reason we rebranded our logo was actually Scott. Scott is actually responsible for this design. So thank you for that. We get tons of compliments from it.
It looks good on your shirt.
Yeah, it was one of the best things we ever did, and that was.
It looks good on that wall behind you too.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. So thank you for that, and thank you for everything. If somebody wanted to connect with you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Just DM me on Instagram, or find if it's someone within Signature, you can find me on the app as well. But Instagram is probably the best way to go, or just text me.
Perfect. We appreciate you, Scott. Any last words of advice?
Nope. I think that's it. That just start something and don't stop. Whatever it is you're going to do. Everybody doesn't really fully commit, and then they give up too soon.
Awesome. Thanks again, Scott.